Hello everybody and welcome back to You Can't Win. This is Tom here and I'm joined by Don as usual. Today we're going to be doing another one of our good old Q&A episodes. Questions have been stacking up and we're going to try and get through as many of these as we can. So I believe Don has a curated list of excellent questions for us and we'll be just going through them one by one.
Yeah, we're going to start with one of the more academic ones. Why do Mohammedans worship the moon? I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I actually don't know what the story there is. I don't know why that, like the symbol at least, like why that's part of the culture.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to me. What I know about it is that that is like the star and crescent symbol, on the Turkish flag and the Pakistani flag and other flags that has been used throughout history. I guess that comes from some Turkic tribe, and I'm not sure why it came to be used across the Muslim world. I can't think of any, reference that it alludes to really or anything like that. The moon doesn't have any particularly special position in Islam or anything. I mean, there's certain things I guess you could say, like it's a lunar calendar, but the Jewish calendar is also lunar. There are other lunar calendars, so that's not unique or anything. One of Muhammad's miracles was splitting the moon. So this was one time they were out at night, and I think it was some of his companions and some of the one of the local tribes, some of the people from that were there, and I forget exactly how it goes, but basically he points his staff up at the moon and it splits, or it looks like it splits. It's actually specifically termed to say that it appeared as if it split. So it's one of those things where scholars have even said it may not have actually split. It may just have been that it was made to appear that way, and there are certain explanations for that, and somehow he may have been in tune with that and understood how that was going to happen or something. But anyway, that's the only real thing I can think of with the moon. There's nothing. I don't really get it either, and I don't think anyone has a definitive answer about why that symbology has come to represent Islam. So.
Yeah, I don't even know if until recently it was I don't think it was attributed either. I don't think it was I don't think Christians thought that Islam worshipped the moon. I don't know if that was the other way around, in the more bigoted view kind of thing. I don't know if that was ever an actual view. I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it was more. Yeah,
I think there's misunderstandings about Muslims worship Muhammad or they worship the Kaaba or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's more it, and that it's and that Muhammad was some sort of demon or something, and stuff like that. But I don't know if it worked any other way. But okay, I thought maybe it was some hadith or something. It was I don't know, sort of the. I don't know. I just assumed it had to be something like that, or
right. Yeah, which makes sense, right? That would make sense if it had some sort of the moon is the reflection of the sun, it reflects the light of the sun, so that's Muhammad and the star is God, or something. People have talked about that, but that's all post hoc rationalizations,
Sure.
So.
I had an idea I'd like to run past you guys. The C.I.Gay. It's the CIA, but it's run by all gay guys. They secretly kill and replace world leaders with gay guys. What do you guys think?
Sure. Whatever. Is that? Let's give it a shot. What's the worst that could go wrong? If we're gonna swap out the CIA with something else, okay, fine.
Yeah. In Canada in the 50s and 60s, there was this kind of craze that happened in the federal government where they were convinced that gay people were perfect blackmail targets for Soviets and stuff.
Yeah.
So they tried to basically the equivalent of McCarthyism, but for gay people kind of thing. That was their they tried to like target them and stuff. And I guess they also thought maybe that like they collaborated together or something because they knew that they could be blackmailed. So like it was like some sort of conspiracy. So they created this thing where it was like you get strapped to a chair and they would show you pictures of like pornography and stuff. But like they did this to many like large, like most, I don't even know if it was most, but like a good share of the federal civil service and the military and the police. And they would like try to see like from the tests if they thought you were gay or not. And it was called the Fruit Machine. And
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's funny to me. I don't know. Like that's a pretty I don't know.
Man, imagine the guy that administers those tests. Like, you're on porn duty again, Tom. Ah, jeez.
Yeah, I like that because it had to go pretty far for that to all, you know, like someone had to be like, oh yeah, this is how we'll handle it. And then a lot of other people had to be like, yes, this is a good idea or something. You know what I mean? Like it,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
I think we talked about this a little bit on the Mountie episode.
Oh, right. Yeah, we did. I think
it's ringing a bell. Yeah.
And but as you can see, how far we've come now that Justin Trudeau is in power. So,
well, that's the way they can set up the C.I.Gay. They just use those techniques to filter out the people they want.
Yeah,
don't want
exactly. Yeah, they just flip the switch or whatever and make it so that it filters out the straights, whatever. Yeah, that makes sense. What do you guys think of AOC and Jagmeet Singh meeting on Twitch? Is this a sign of future operations between SOC Dems to use NATO-style video game brainwashing techniques on our vulnerable youth? So did you see this at all, or?
I mean, I heard about it. I didn't see it personally. I didn't know Jagmeet Singh.
Jagmeet Singh,
Jagmeet Singh.
He's the leader of our like NDP, like our left-wing kind of party.
Okay.
And a lot of people are sort of debating back and forth about that, I guess, because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, this is epic. It's like a politician talking like a human or whatever kind of thing. But I don't like it because I don't like the idea of politicians being your friend. Like, I feel like they should be thought of as like used car salesmen or something.
Right.
You know, like you don't want to like, I don't know. And to me, I don't know. It does feel more like a Bill Clinton playing saxophone thing on TV.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like that's what it comes across to me as. I know it's like, okay, well, they can be nice people and you can like chat with them if you want, but like, I don't know. Just I feel like once you've decided to take that on that kind of role, you kind of have to become untouchable or something. You don't want like, I don't know. It just not, I don't know. It didn't rub me the right way, but yeah. So
yeah, maybe a little bit like when the boss tries to be your friend, kind of a thing. Like
that too. Yeah,
it's a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't know. Like people always say stuff like that you vote for the person that you see yourself having a beer with or something. I've heard that kind of a thing. Like that's a common wisdom or whatever. Like when they try to market these people, they try and market them that way. So I guess this is like instead of having a beer with them, it's, I don't know, pressing F in chat with them or something, like just relatable sort of stuff. I don't know. It's whatever. It's the game. I don't have any strong feelings about it myself.
Sure. Hey, Tom, a friend of mine and his wife are getting too salafi-pilled and kutub-pilled for my taste. What should I recommend them to read instead?
That can be difficult because if you just present them with like, you know, Al-Ghazali or something like that, or if you go really too far and you give them like Ibn Arabi or something like that, they've probably, if they're getting really into that kind of polemic, they've probably heard all sorts of things about how those people are deviants and kafirs and all this kind of stuff. So you have to be careful with that. It really depends how far down the rabbit hole they are. I think that the best way to approach that kind of stuff, though, is to there are some really good books that stick very close to the primary sources of the Quran and Sunnah to talk about things like Sufism and things like that. I'm blanking on the specific names, but I will put them in the show notes. But yeah, I think you want to go with books that don't have any, it's not just someone's own like ideas that they've come up with from their own experiences or, any sort of theological debates, because a lot of those are very dependent on context. So you really need to understand what was the discourse going on theologically that people were saying this and that and having these different arguments. Because if you're going in there and you're already sort of primed to see bid'ah and kufr everywhere, then you're gonna see it. So there are some good books though that you can look at that are just like, here's from the Quran, here's from the Sunnah, and no funny business. And then it's just sort of like explaining why we have the traditions that we do, and that it should sort of set them at ease about, if they're coming at it open-minded and they're willing to hear things out, then they hopefully will relax a little bit on that kind of stuff. Another thing that you can point out, if they're like really big Ibn Taymiyyah heads, you can point out that he was part of a Sufi tariqah, and pretty much all the big, like if they have any sort of allegiance to or preference for any kind of historical big name scholar like that, chances are they're part of some Sufi lodge or something. So that's always good to point out.
Sure. So a comment I thought I'd read is, I've been sober for 2.5 days because of you guys.
Oh,
so
that's good.
That was a nice one. Yeah, we get a few comments like that ever so often. And I don't know, they're nice. It's funny because, at least speaking for myself, I'm not like a model of wild success or something like that. But it's nice that that actually sort of flips and makes it more relatable sometimes, or something like that kind of thing, where people are like, they feel like they see that we've had problems here or there or whatever, and then kind of, I don't know. That's nice. I wasn't expecting that, but we get it a fair bit here and there. So yeah.
Shout out to all the sober listeners and stuff. That's good for you guys. I guess we're both sober, but we don't really think of it that way. But I think maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. I guess it's different when you're like recovering from addiction and stuff. But
sure.
Yeah, keep it up, guys.
Yeah. So Don, is an economics degree worth anything, or did I have multiple mental breakdowns for no return? Yeah, I don't know. The way that I kind of think about this too is that there's so many this is a you can't win kind of thing, I guess. But like, it's like, there's so many like scams and like things that can just totally crater your life around, especially the United States and stuff, where it's like, like people try to get you to invest in different things, or like try to, take one job over another or whatever, then just that sort of, like it's very easy to get involved in all sorts of things that like just will wreck your financial position and stuff or whatever. I think that like a lot of the basic kind of economic stuff, if it's like, if you learned it well and like actually, I don't know, like it's just, if it's good for you, it's almost like the original meaning of economics and stuff was like basically the equivalent of like penny saver, or like, it means like economize, like, like it's a study of efficiency. And if you think of it like that, instead of like some grand science that's supposed to explain everything, it's actually, I think, very, very helpful for everyday life kind of stuff. And, if you start getting into it too much, where it's like you're trying to use it just to debunk any type of positive measure about like housing or anything like that, or minimum wage or whatever, that's kind of, you're going to get into trouble pretty quickly there or whatever. But like, in terms of, I use it all the time, just thinking through different small problems or whatever and stuff like that. I don't know if you don't, and as for jobs, like, because a lot of people that don't like have an economics degree see it as almost like a magic thing. I think a lot of the time, like managers will and stuff, they see it as like some strange field that they can't really understand. And I've heard that a lot for people that are like applying for jobs and stuff, where it's like they'll see it as a bonus over like a degree like history or something, even though there's no real, they're both kind of like arts degrees kind of thing. So if you can like, as for jobs and stuff, I think it's it doesn't hurt whatever to have that too. I don't know. I think that's like I don't know. That's the kind of quick take. The online, it's just very common to say just the whole thing is fake kind of thing. And I don't really buy that. I think that there's a lot to it that makes sense. But yeah, it's just that it's like anything else where you just, it gets into strange places pretty quickly if you start using it as an explanation for all sorts of different things and stuff. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I feel somewhat similarly about my history degree. Like, it's not directly relevant to my job exactly, or to most things in life, but it kind of just informs my thinking about a lot of things, just kind of knowing how to approach research and having a good understanding of how the world has evolved. Like, I studied kind of all over the place in terms of like the object of study, right? Like, I studied in Europe, or I studied stuff that was going on in Europe, stuff in India, stuff in the Middle East, South America, all this kind of stuff. So I don't know, it's useful in different ways. I feel like I don't have to really read the news as much. Like, I kind of can tell why things are happening, what's going on, by having like a little bit more of a long view sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it can help you make decisions better. Like any type of study, any type of education can. And a lot of it is sort of this negative thing where you're not seeing all the things that might have happened otherwise, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like even just small things, like small differences in interest rates for houses or something. Like if you have some additional perception of that or something and how it affects you, it can end up being many, many thousands of dollars over the course of your life that like it affects you. Like, and I don't know. It's hard to sort of do counterfactuals on that, but even just stuff like, if you convince yourself that maybe you're not going to make much money trying to make random bets on the stock market or something, it's basically almost like immunizing yourself against gambling or something somewhat, stuff like that. Like it's just, you don't notice the benefit because you're just not seeing it, but it exists kind of thing. So I don't know. I think that's true. So
yeah, I think the main thing with anything like that you study in college in like a structured way is that it trains your thinking, and that's going to have all kinds of like auxiliary benefits that it's hard to like pinpoint exactly what those are going to be, but just being able to like to think in a way that is efficient, and there's a lot of like routes to avoid error that they train you to take and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
That it seems like it only applies to one thing, but you'll find ways to apply it in other places and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the next question is, does the new COVID vaccine contain Jeffrey Epstein's DNA or Bill Gates' microchips?
Who knows? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. Like, are you worried about the vaccine at all? Anything like that? You say you're gonna maybe take your time?
Yeah, I'm in no rush. I don't see a reason to rush into it. I'm happily quarantining, and I'll just keep doing that as long as I can.
Yeah.
Let other people take it, see what happens. I don't think it's going to be like readily available until middle of next year anyways. So
yeah. Is it going to be free for you? Do you know?
Supposed to, I guess.
I
think that was what Biden was saying, that it's going to be free.
Yeah, I find it hard. I just don't understand how this works in terms of like what's the worst thing that can happen, like in real life kind of thing. Like what's the, like, is it, I mean, not like the worst in terms of individuals. I'm sure there's like some horrific thing that can happen to like 1 in every 10,000 or something. But like, I mean, like if like somehow it's like a bad thing and then like a few weeks later terrible things start happening to the people or whatever, like is it like I just don't know if it's like, if it's something like, oh no, we all got it and then it didn't really prevent much and then we got rashes or something for a while. Like is that what's going to happen, or is
maybe,
it like
or you could just give people COVID.
Yeah,
you could be injecting people with COVID essentially.
Sure, but like giving them COVID is like the worst that could happen, I guess. Because I just don't know if it's like some weird bizarre like DNA thing where like it can like screw up your DNA printer or whatever in the cell and make it all cancer or something. Is it something like that? I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm gonna say that could happen. So, I think all these things can and have happened in the past.
Okay,
I don't. It depends on what kind of vaccine is. We need to have Mike on to explain all this because he knows all this stuff.
Yeah, that is part of the benefit of just 90% of the people I know being like diehard contrarians is that like. I'm going to get any of the bad case scenarios. I know I'll learn them eventually. I just haven't like dug into that yet, but I don't know because some people are like very adamant about not taking it and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but is it, I don't know. It's just like that level of adamance seems like it should be associated with some extreme outcome or something, not just, I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah, as I said, it doesn't really matter to me either way. Even if it gave me COVID or whatever, I'm not critical of social infrastructure. Like I'm not, like it would be bad in my opinion, but like, if it goes wrong, whatever, I don't know. That's my opinion. We'll see. Yeah. So we're going to go with, yes, it contains Jeffrey Epstein's DNA. I think that's true. So,
well, I think if it is effective and it works and it just comes, no bad side effects, nothing like that, then I got to think that it's probably Trump's DNA.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Yeah. Or it was just Trump's blood being replicated or whatever. Yeah. The microchip thing is another thing too, where I don't see the marginal gain to like the lizard people or whatever. Like I don't know. Is it to like track you when you go into the woods or whatever? I don't know. So
I guess, but they kind of did all that with smartphones.
Sure.
So it's kind of almost like unnecessary to do the microchip thing at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's not much. Like, I feel like you're already pretty much tracked, and so we'll see.
I keep thinking about the smart sewers that Whitney Webb has been talking about.
Oh yeah,
I know I've brought this up a couple times, but It's like they have this technology now that will like analyze sewer systems and be able to figure out all kinds of stuff about not just your health and like diseases and things like that, but like it just really is like fine-tuned, and it can pull all kinds of crazy data about different populations and like who's living in different places and all kinds of information like that. And it's a Palantir project, so yeah, I don't know, I think that's just really amazing to me.
Yeah, that'd be scary if it was like used for some sort of extreme racist thing or something. That'd be weird too. If it was like they were like sifting through the things and being like, where is the African-American DNA of people hiding and I don't know, stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, that's messed up. That's a good science fiction movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tracking people by their poop or whatever. So yeah.
I've heard people say lately that they've been like going back and rewatching Children of Men and that it's a very good watch nowadays.
Sure.
How old is that movie? It's not 20 years old, is it?
No. It's like 10, 12, something like that. Yeah.
I might rewatch it. That'll be fun. It was pretty good from what I remember.
It's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah. I like Clive Owen too. I don't know. Although I saw him in something recently and he looked like a few things recently. He looked like he's almost dead or something. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah.
Oh, damn.
He looked really, really sick. So, I'm not sure what the thing was. He might just be like old and thin, it might, but he looked like they were trying to like edit him to make him look not dead or whatever. Anyways, but
that wasn't part of the character or anything.
Well, it could have been, but it was in a few things, and he just looks pretty rough. But so the next is that someone asks, do a Chechen episode.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know any Chechens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that more of those kind of regional, national sort of episodes and stuff might be interesting. I don't know. We don't really do like, we do like maybe the Pizzagate is real kind of stuff and stuff like that, but not really like, I don't know, not like deep dives on countries as much, but like we did one on Libya that people said they liked, I guess.
The Gaddafi
Afghanistan.
One? Yeah.
We did more before about like, we did one with Lebanon and stuff. And
yeah, the one on Germany was pretty good.
Yeah, that's true too. So I guess we do a few of them, but like, so we'll see how that goes, I guess. But yeah, so we should try to think of maybe some of the different regional ones. Okay, so next question is, would you guys accept work as mercenary trolls?
Yeah, I would. I'm like a Ronin troll right now. I don't have any masters.
Sure. Yeah, I think that. I don't know. I don't know if I would be good at it, but we'll see. I feel like maybe the second that the trolling was for someone else, it would lose its powers or something. It's like I don't know. It can only.
It depends for me. I feel like I feel like trolling is always sort of on the behalf of some kind of. There's always some flag, to some extent. Sure. Like it, you know what I mean? Like you're always trying to do something and stick some kind of flag in the ground or whatever, and it's not always necessarily like any particular like group or whatever. It's sometimes just like a sensibility or something, but there's always something like that. So it depends. If I could get on board with like the movement or the cause or whatever that is hiring me, then I think I'd be happy to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so next, I'm desperate for you guys to notice me, but I'm not a subscriber. How do I know if you've answered my question on a paid episode? So I decided quickly answer that one is that we try to answer the public questions on public episodes and Discord questions on premium episodes, although, we might one day run through a bunch of Discord ones on the public. Maybe one day, we'll see. But anyways, so.
Yeah, there's a separate like thing in Discord for them to send questions in so that it's only from subscribers, and then that ensures that we answer them because we just straight up go down the list, whereas with the Curious Cat there's a little bit of picking and choosing and stuff.
Yeah, we get a lot of vulgar ones on the Curious Cat. Well, more vulgar ones on the Curious Cat, I guess.
Yeah, and there's just a lot. We have hundreds up there, so it's just like you know, and there's a lot of repeat questions, and I know I feel kind of torn about that sometimes, because obviously if a question is being repeated, it means that there's a lot of people that want the answers, and I don't expect people to like listen to every single episode necessarily, but I also don't want to like keep answering the same thing. It gets boring for me, and it gets boring for the listeners who have heard that question answered before too. So it's just a balancing act. So if you haven't heard your questions answered, there's a lot of things that go into that. And then, sometimes it's just like, we just haven't gotten to it yet. So feel free to resubmit a question. If you submitted a question and you thought it was a good one that you wanted to hear, and it's been, if it's been like a couple months or something, like go ahead and resubmit it, and we'll see it again, and if it's just something we don't want to do, we'll just ignore it.
Yeah. So this is another comment. I think a lot of Ed Buck's problems would be solved with number 1, Islam, number 2, cocaine, number 3, a decent wife. All
right. Well, a couple of incompatibilities in that list, but I basically agree with the gist of this.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll pass along maybe the suggestion, and we'll see if he picks one or more of those. So,
yeah. I will say he is a much more pleasant, normal person when you're just kind of talking with him, and there's not like, it's not on Twitter or in the Discord. He's just as crazy as he is on Twitter and stuff. But like when we just chat with him, like in the recording room or whatever, before we actually hit record, like we just talk about very pleasant, normal kind of stuff, and then the episode starts and it's like game face.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And it's actually a woman named Susan too, so that's
right.
Just
okay. I didn't want to blow his cover or her cover. But yeah, she likes avocado toast.
Yeah. She lives in New York. She's writes for SNL. Okay.
She's got an OnlyFans too, but hush hush.
Okay, so the next question is, what are Don's thoughts on Irish politics, if any? Lots of love from your Irish fans. Okay, so number 1, I guess I should say that, like, I do think that there's that tendency of, having complete opinions on every part of the world that I do feel infected by, but I realize is not always healthy. And I guess like Ireland is slightly different because, like a lot of people in North America, I do have, like my grandmother was a Kennedy and stuff, anyways. So
What, really?
Well, she's like, her name was Kennedy. It's not like the Kennedys, but like, she's like Irish, I guess, by heritage. Or maybe, never mind. But, there's more, that's more complicated. But, yeah, I don't know. I like small nations and stuff like Ukraine and whatever. Anyways, basic take. I'm sympathetic to left nationalism in general. I don't know, but I don't really see it as my fight. Like, I would probably vote for like Sinn Féin or something if I was living there, or like one of the Trot parties or something. But at the same time, it's like I can't like, not like gung ho about it because number one, it's not like, not my fight kind of thing. I'm not like, oh man, I have to. A lot of people are very, very big on the IRA and stuff now online, like the really as like a meme thing, and I don't like that much. I don't know. I've heard bad things about some of like Sinn Féin's like compromises on different things, or like, they're just, anyways, they got some problems too. So I wouldn't back them 100%. And then the other stuff about like the church and social conservatism and stuff, I had thought about that. Yeah, I would probably have voted yes on both like gay marriage and abortion in the last 5 years to, liberalize them a bit because, I don't know. I feel like you need like a very broad consensus on that kind of stuff. You shouldn't like, I don't know if it's like a tooth and nail thing for me on those ones, more of a liberal on them. So anyways, just as like depending on where you're from, maybe that's positive. I don't know. But, anyways, that's my basic take. I could see myself voting for like one of the Trot parties too, like the small ones. It's like, or like a left-wing Green person or something. Like, I do think there's like huge problems with the church there. Obviously, I don't know. It's not like a lot of people try to, really pump that up too as like being super, super conservative or like orthodox on that stuff. I don't know. I tend to be more liberal. So yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. All I know about their politics is that they became like a financial hub because of like tax-free stuff for like corporations or something like that.
Yeah.
So I guess that's really affected their economy or whatever. So
yeah,
that's all I know about that.
Yeah. The Irish Tiger kind of stuff, like all the trying to be really like a neoliberal paradise kind of thing, and then they kind of got crushed, and then they did a little bit better because of like EU grants and all this kind of stuff, or loans, whatever. And then like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really, I just don't, I don't expect that like the sort of broad left kind of stuff is really going to do much either way. It's not like overinvested in that kind of stuff. I know people that are really, really big into that kind of stuff, and I'm like, well, whatever. I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah. None of my business is how I feel about all of that. Like,
yeah, sure. Yeah.
So like another country, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this one is directed towards you, I assume. It is, I used to play Magic a lot in my youth, and because of Tom, I just got into Magic the Gathering Arena. My question is, how the mutate mechanic is allowed. It seems like the most broken, insane thing in the game, since some of the affinity cards from the original Mirrodin sets. So that was complete gibberish to me. I have no idea what's going on there.
That's a funny take. I wonder what format he's been playing in. I don't think mutate is really that overpowered. To be honest, I haven't played Magic now for like a couple months or so. I kind of got burnt out on it a little bit, and then I kind of like skipped a set that came out, and I just didn't have interest in it, and I think it was when Crusader Kings came out, so I was just like playing that instead, and I just haven't gotten back on board, so I don't really know what's going on in Standard and stuff right now. But when Mutate came out, I don't think it was really overpowered. It was powerful in Draft. It was not good in Standard. And I think the reason for that is the way Mutate works is, this is for Magic heads only, so feel free to fast forward a couple minutes here. But, Mutate essentially makes you sacrifice a creature when you are mutating onto it. So like you have a creature out, you mutate onto it, So you've paid the cost for the first creature. Now you're paying the cost of the second creature, and you're getting one creature out of it. And yeah, it's probably a pretty good creature, but it's still just one that will die to. I mean, the old, well, it dies to Doomblade kind of argument, which I know is a little bit of a stupid argument, but it's still, it's still kind of true. You're sacrificing a card for upgrading your other card, so it's not that much more powerful than like an aura, which I think everyone understands is like they're not great. So I mean, you get some flexibility in that you can play it out as a second creature or whatever, but yeah, I don't think it's overpowered, and I don't think that it really I don't think there was ever like a top tier mutate deck or anything either, so I don't know. Okay. Maybe the guy just plays like with his friends or something, and he's just beating up his friends with his crazy mutate deck or something.
Have you gotten into the chess craze?
No, I've been playing Slay the Spire a lot. So if anyone's into that, I've been playing a lot of that. And today I got a new GPU in the mail, just literally installed it right before we started recording. So just in time for Cyberpunk, I'm all set up. I got the RTX 2060, which is the weakest of that card, but it's got DLSS, so I'm hoping that will help me play Cyberpunk at 1440p on my new monitor. So yeah, very excited for that.
Yeah, so I'll probably play it later in the month or so, and then I don't know. It looks okay. I don't know. I think it'll be good. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I am really looking forward to maybe a more one of those first person RPG kind of things, whatever. I don't know. I just played that Outer Worlds one, and I beat it the other day. I don't know if I told you that. I finished it, but like that was great because it was just I really liked that format, and I after playing like Fallout 4 and basically like similarly like Red Dead Redemption and stuff, so I'm primed for another one. I don't know. I was actually thinking someone. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, Cyberpunk sounds like it'll fit the bill.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Witcher or Deus Ex?
I didn't like Witcher because it's like third person or something.
Wasn't Red Dead Redemption third person?
Well, you can go into first person. I think that's what I did.
Oh, okay.
I don't use third person and I've thought of, someone suggested that I buy old used PS3 and just play New Vegas all the way through on that. It might be cheaper than, because you can't get it on PS4. The only way to do it is like through that like online thing where you like play it remotely or whatever.
And that's not going to work for you. Yeah.
No. So my connection's not good enough. And then, or like, I think it will play on my computer, but I don't know. I just don't want to be sitting there for hours on my computer playing that game. I'd rather have the computer off and then, kind of pop on and off on the TV when I want to play it, kind of thing. So we'll see. That would be like, it would probably cost like $150 or something to do, kind of thing. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It's a weird, it's like it's more like a bad idea, but like it might fit the exact situation I'm in, kind of thing. Because I don't really want to upgrade yet for my, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. So moving on. I've created insulting caricature articles of both of you on random Wikipedia sites in different languages. Now when people who speak those languages learn about you, they'll think poorly of you. I can delete them for a price. How many Patreon bucks is your dignity worth?
I mean, bad publicity is good publicity, right?
Yeah. So my note for this is all publicity is good publicity. So
right. That's the saying. Yeah.
Exactly. We knew that. Yeah. I don't know. That's most of my online presence, anyways, is trying to generate bad press that will somehow redound to my benefit. So
Yeah, the only people that ever talk about me online are people that hate me. So, like,
Sure.
I think as far as like having a negative reputation out there with random people, that's about all I got. So,
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So, first time, long time. I am a confirmed Catholic and will be married soon. Our pastor at our church has been hinting that he wants me to donate $1,000 in order to have the ceremony there. If I instead donate $5 a month to be a part of the You Can't Win Discord community, can you guys hook me up with a venue? I'm trying to find some good savings. So yeah, I'm fine with this. You can just pay us, and then you can come to my parents' house, and you can hold it in our basement.
Sounds good.
And it's a big unfinished basement, so it'll be pretty cold, maybe a bit damp, and but I can put up maybe like 3 or 4 balloons and put out some hand sanitizer. And
little portrait of Mao on the wall.
Sure. I don't know if I'll actually, we could, I guess maybe if you pay extra, but not too much extra. I could get my family to hang out too, like pretend that we're part of your family or whatever. I don't know. So, yeah, that might work. You would have to live in Canada already, though. I don't think you can get across the border really. But we'll make it work. We'll figure it out. Even sometime in the next 5 years or so, we'll do it. So.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a few questions here. I like this one. How did Adolf Hitler get elected in Namibia? Didn't he die? So, did you hear about this, Don?
Yeah, the guy. So, what position was it? Like prime minister or something, or president or whatever? Or like was lower, whatever, I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was like president, but
okay,
maybe not. Let's see. Local council election.
Yeah.
He's a member of the ruling SWAPO party, elected councillor in the Umpunjda constituency. 85% of the vote.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a cute thing that happens all over the world, I guess, now, where people are named names that sound powerful and historical, and they don't really have much. It reminds me of like that Perry Bible Fellowship cartoon where it shows like them watching a movie about World War II, and it's got like knights jousting and UFOs and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's like got that sense to it. I kind of like it because I don't know. I like the idea that like history can just kind of stop hurting at some point to some people, kind of thing. Like it kind of trivializes it in some ways. I like that it trivializes it. I don't know. Like I like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like I like the idea that like 100 years from now, it won't make, people won't care. There'll be like Trump burgers or something. Like what I mean. Like people won't. I just like that. It also sort of reflects on the things that like our priorities are not necessarily other people's priorities in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice too. It just like shows that like, I don't know, it just reminds you of like that it's not all, one cultural monolith or something. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think in like China, they teach Hitler as just very like, oh, he was just a strong leader who, brought his country out from an economic depression, and then he lost a war. Like this, there's not a lot of focus on the whole Holocaust thing or the Nazi ideology or anything like that. Which is, it's funny because the thing is there are tons of stuff that we do that about too. We don't think of like Belgians or like the Spanish or whatever as being like these horrible monsters or the Japanese or whatever, even though we just fought them in World War II at the same time that we fought the Nazis. It's funny. So it's more the fact that we like don't do it evenly that I like to see, kind of like you called it, trivializing these things. Like, yeah. Okay, so if Jesus had any descendants, hypothetically speaking, would his patrilineal descendants be considered Sayyid or some equivalent? So just to explain this for people who aren't aware, in Islam there is a concept of a Sayyid, who is someone who is descended from the Prophet, and that it doesn't really mean anything is like really special. Like there's actually many people who claim this, and it can just be a mark of like dignity or something. Like it doesn't give you any kind of special privileges or anything like that. And if anything, it's like a downside a little bit because you can't receive zakat and you can't take. There's a lot of ways that you can't like take money, which I think that was implemented in the early days because they didn't want like his family to just become like to hoard wealth and stuff like that. So it was more like supposed to have that distributed out amongst the community.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the question I think is in sort of like Orthodox Christianity would be sort of offensive. You know what I mean? I guess it is in any religion, but I think that that is kind of interesting how it works in the different religions and stuff. Like, I guess Jesus is supposed to be like a descendant of like King David and stuff, and like that's like a big part in it to kind of prove that he actually is the descendant of kings and stuff. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. There's a lot of like emphasis in the Bible on like symmetry and like everything that happens in one part references another part kind of thing. Like it's like very, very intricate in that way. And so I don't know. I don't know if that's like I like that aspect of it, but I don't know how. It is interesting when you see like I guess the equivalent today is like royal families or something, like that. You see like the people, I don't know, there's this guy that one of them is one of the Habsburgs guy is like a weird Twitter guy kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Well, not weird Twitter, but like he's like a Catholic poster, and he like posts a lot, and he's not really, he more like kind of follows a bunch of those guys kind of thing. And he like had like a children's book that he wrote about like a two-headed eagle, and it just very strange. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't know. I'm not a big monarchy guy. I don't know. So I don't know. It's very strange. It's like
I like my weirdos though. Like
Yeah. Sure.
Let a thousand weird flowers bloom.
Yeah, there is a guy that one of the like claimants of the throne in France has a Twitter account too, in French, and he like posts as if like he is the king or something, or like prince or whatever, So like it's like during the like yellow vest protests, he like put out like a statement on his Twitter, which is like, I understand the anger of the French people and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know. I find that funny. That's like he talks in this sort of like royal tone as if like it's like a real issue, and anyways, and then he's also probably like extremely rich, right? Like it's not just some. There's people that pretend to be the Pope and are just like some guy in Kansas or something, But like these people are actually like at some level, there's like a 0.2% chance they could be put back on the throne someday or something. You know what I mean? Like there is some like minuscule chance that like some right wing government would come in or whatever, or like
it's not. At least they have like. They're on the board of some mining company in Africa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they got something going on.
So that's very strange to me, but I don't know. It's I don't know.
It's funny to see that literal royalty, like literal claimants to thrones, are just they're reduced to the same just like LARPing posting that all the rest of us are. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. So.
All right, so here's a question for you, Don. Is Donald Hughes a fan of French New Wave films, or is he just a La Chinoise fan?
So for a few years, I just like I had like an 11-inch TV or something like that, like 10-inch TV, and I would rent 3 movies a week, basically, like for 4 days for $5. So there's this deal at school. I just watched like hundreds of them, and during that period, I did watch like a few dozen of those types of movies, like all the different French ones and almost no memory of them. I don't know, like just like they just completely evaporated, I think. Yeah, most of them just kind of, I just completely forgot them. Little kind of snippets of them I can kind of remember, but I don't know. I liked them at the time. But yeah, so I should rewatch some of them. Ever so often I subscribe to that Criterion channel. And they've got like, hundreds of those kind of great movies and stuff. And I would say I'm not sure, maybe like one or two of them I've gotten through, like any movies on them. Like I just subscribe for a month and then I cancel it near the end of the month because I'm like, oh, I didn't even watch one, whatever. So I don't know. I need to get into that thing, but I find it like very, very, I get like kind of like hectic kind of, just like anxious and stuff, trying to sit there, watch something. And it's very, very irritating to me. So I watch mostly kind of junk that I can kind of just have on and then, do other stuff, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's mostly what I do. I basically just don't watch movies that often. And then when I do, it's such a novelty that I'm just kind of, and it's usually something that I like actually really want to watch. Yeah. So it usually has my attention for that. But I guess the other week we did watch this stupid action movie. What's it called? Oh, A Den of Thieves. Yeah. You heard of this?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's kind of fun. It was watchable. We watched it all the way through, but it's pretty dumb.
Yeah. I had this like period where probably from like 1998 to 2006 or 7 or something, where I saw like most movies that came out kind of thing. Like I just watched all of them and then sort of got too anxious to watch them, I guess maybe, or something. And then now I watch like a bunch, but not like, I don't know. A lot of them I just, I can't handle. I'll watch the ones that are dumb because I think that's funny, but I can't like all the ones that are like trying to be sort of like half clever, kind of like, like adult oriented kind of dramas and stuff. I just are like, no interest in them anymore because they're all, most of the time, because they're just like, they feel like paint by numbers in their own way or something. So, yeah.
Okay, how about this? Have any of you read Tolstoy? And if so, what do you think about his writings? There seems to be movements towards primitive Christianity in a variety of countries, including here in the US with Puritanism and Revivalism, in Europe with the Protestant, Anabaptist, and Hussite groups, in Russia with Tolstoy. What does Don think of these groups?
So I know some people that are involved in that kind of stuff, I think, but like, I don't know. I like the idea of like sort of some of that kind of stuff, like sort of the house Christian kind of radical stuff or whatever, or like where people try to sort of strip things down to, interpersonal relationships, basically, like try to be the best Christians that they can be to each other and stuff. I think that it takes a certain type of like moral pioneer or something to actually get that level of work done kind of thing, like actually relate to people really well. And most people can only really handle that at all to any extent just within their families. They can't really do that within networks of dozens of people or something, So I'm not sure how much I would find it very, very difficult to manage kind of thing, that kind of stuff. But, the very, very trying to be like rigorously good or something, but not in like negative, like not necessarily like a, in a warm way or whatever, not like a negative way or something, but like, I don't know. I've only read a few things by Tolstoy. I think I read like, The Death of Ivan Ilyich or whatever. And I've not read like, War and Peace or whatever.
Have you read The Kingdom of God is Within You? I think that's his big religious essay or something.
Yeah, I should read that soon. A few people keep bugging me about it. They say that I would really like it. Because I'm already like pretty pacifist and all that kind of stuff, like pretty, at least in theory, all that kind of stuff. Like, I agree with that kind of thing in general, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like, it's interesting because I think you kind of have to think in like two different ways. You have to kind of think of, okay, how can I challenge myself to be better? But then it's also like, can you expect that of everyone too. I don't know. It's hard, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't read any Tolstoy.
Okay.
I don't know. I always got the impression there was like either you're a Tolstoy guy or you're a Dostoevsky guy, and I'm definitely a Dostoevsky guy.
Okay.
I've read quite a few of his books and enjoyed pretty much all of them.
I read some of his short stories a long time ago, but I haven't read any of his books, so yeah.
He wrote a book that the English translation is The Idiot, and I think it's also got a few other titles.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. But it's a very obvious allegory for Christ, like if Jesus came back today and how people would respond to him. Like the main character is basically like this beleaguered Christ figure. It's pretty fun. His books are really fun. That's one thing that I really like. All the big snobby books that I like are fun. Like they do all these kind of crazy things that are really interesting, and they kind of have interesting ways of making you think and stuff. But they're always like funny and just like entertaining.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was the plot of The Idiot, so I'll have to check that out. But yeah.
All right. Did you guys know Mike Tyson got seriously into the works of Mao Zedong? He got a tattoo of his face and Che Guevara on his body. I did hear about this. I think he read some Mao stuff in prison or something.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. He's got his own podcast. I think it's called Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he convert to Islam or something in prison?
Yep. I've seen pictures of him praying, and it's nothing goofy. You know, sometimes you're not sure, like if they're doing some Nation of Islam thing, and it's like Hotep caps and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it looks like legit Islam to me.
Yeah, I don't know. There's actually a few books that like academic books about this that came out in the last few years that I want to read more about like the crossover between Chinese culture and Black culture. And especially with like in the 70s and 80s, like with the craze around martial arts in the Black community stuff. That's kind of, I don't know, I find that interesting. And stuff like Maoism becoming really popular in stuff like the Black Panthers and all that. And I don't know, I can kind of get it. I get why. I mean, I find that I get that kind of impulse of why it would be, cool. It's like a whole huge country with an ancient culture, basically, trying to decolonize in one way at a time when it was still pretty mainstream to think that was just a crazy, stupid thing to do or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that both Chinese and Japanese culture and politics and stuff got some attention from the Black community at that same time, right? Like they were both kind of seen, like a lot of that is just like what they are looking for in the world. So they're kind of like imagining something that they could do. I imagine.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, like fascist Japan and Maoist China were represented this something similar to them, even though like in reality they're like direct enemies.
Like even Malcolm X had made some comments about that, about Japan and stuff early on, I guess. And I think, and when he was younger. And then, and then obviously in his speeches and stuff, saying stuff like using the example of Vietnamese people or Koreans and stuff as being, willing to fight with just a rifle and sandals, basically. So, yeah. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I find that kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, although it is kind of funny that now that I feel like I've gone through the ringer on that kind of stuff, like in terms of all the memes and all that and all the art and stuff that you see on Twitter and all that kind of stuff, it feels like you start to understand how a lot of people at the time probably thought it was cringe too, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I would find it hard to...
people in the 60s were saying cringe AF when they saw the Black Panthers version.
Yeah, that's what I think. So, yeah.
Last two here. This one says, is Tom happy that President Trump has brought peace to the Middle East through his negotiations between Israel and Saudi Arabia? Whenever I kind of was getting on the Trump train a little bit, it's just kind of fun. You get memed into like, yeah, Trump, he's beating all these like stiff suits, kind of, that whole thing.
Yeah.
All you got to say is one word, Kushner, and that brings me right back to reality. I always thought Kushner was like the worst part of Trump's administration.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
To answer the question, yes, absolutely. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll wrap up with this one here. This is a message from the Abyss. It says, Dark Donald here with my good friend Hindu Thomas. We are still out here lurking in negaspace or whatever, and we're coming for you. So, yeah, we got to watch our backs. And I guess we will be needing to invest in some sort of combat armor or something like that to fight these evil jinn or whatever these are.
Train in very high gravity or whatever. I think it's a Dragon Ball Z reference. So,
right, yeah. So
sure.
We will need lots of Patreon bucks, folks. So if you enjoyed this episode and you'd like a second episode every week, you can subscribe to our Patreon and support us in our fight against the Negaspace demons. You'll also get access to our Discord where you can talk to us in our community. And if you'd like to submit questions anonymously, you can do that by going to the podcast Twitter account and going to the Curious Cat, which is pinned to the account. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
See you guys.